On today's Community Wednesday, let's break down the MAC-10. When the MAC-10 first came out, it was the best SMG in the game. Whether it was for close range or sniper support, it could do anything, and it took a very long time for them to nerf it. And even as time went on and better weapons were added to the game, people still loved to use the MAC-10, because they were so used to it and could perform really well with it, since it was always a solid choice. But is it still now? Let's find out. In this build, we'll be using the Agency Suppressor, Tiger Team Spotlight, Raider Stock, Bruiser Grip, and Stanag 53 round drums. So let's get straight into the stats, starting with mobility. It has a great ADS time of 200 milliseconds, and a reload and reload add time of 2.98 from empty and 2 if you leave one bullet in the mag. And with its fast fire rate and the mag cap of 53, it's best to try to leave one if you can. Its movement and sprint speeds are great because it's a Cold War weapon, but even better, it's among the best in the game. Its ADS stray speed is also really great at 3 meters a second, and its sprint and attack sprint out times are also amazing at 130 and 180 milliseconds. Despite it moving pretty fast, its stability is still at a pretty good 1.5 T, but with its bullet velocity at 500 meters per second, it's probably not the greatest for long range. And lastly, its rate of fire is 18.56 rounds per second or 1,114 rounds per minute. So it gets a mobility score of 44. Its recoil is interesting. It makes an S-shaped pattern. This makes it pretty easy and predictable, but it does have a lot of side-to-side random bounce. So if you want 100% accuracy, you can use it up to 24 meters. But if we stick to my stat system, it gets 75% accuracy all the way to 30. And if you don't mind dropping it down to something like 50, you can use it even up to 40. So it gets a recoil score of 30. For its damage, it has a drop-off point at 18 meters. In the first damage range, it has above average upper torso and lower torso TTKs, but its head and limb TTKs aren't really that great. In the second damage range, between 18 and 30 meters, it's not going to be doing great at all. But after 30 meters, its headshot TTK may be below average, but its upper torso, lower torso, and limb TTKs are all average. And anywhere in the second damage range, if you're hitting upper and lower torso shots only, and you get one headshot in the mix, you'll reduce your shots to kill by 1. I wouldn't necessarily count on this though, since it's very easy to get a shoulder or an upper arm in the mix. But it is nice that you're not being punished for hitting lower torso shots. In modes with 300 HP, it's gonna be a bit flipped. In the first damage range, it's gonna get an average upper and lower torso TTK. But in the second damage range, after 30 meters, it's gonna get an above average upper and lower torso TTK. So in 300 HP modes, you may be better off switching the Bruiser Grip for something like a Field Agent Grip, since it's better after 30 meters. But regardless, it's gonna get a damage score of 41.75. And when we add up all the categories, it's gonna get a final score of 115.75. This is a pretty decent score. It's not high enough to be a sniper support weapon, but you could definitely try to use it that way if you wanted to. In modes with 250 HP, this is pretty great because it is very mobile and does decently up close. You may be losing some gunfights against meta SMGs because of its open bolt delay, but if you start stretching the range, you probably stand a better chance. But in 300 HP modes, it's not going to be doing as good, since it seems to be more suited for longer ranges, and its recoil won't really let us. If we put too many attachments into recoil and bullet velocity, it's going to be losing a lot of what makes it a good SMG. So if you really want to use it in 300 HP modes, switch the Bruiser Grip for the Field Agent. It will hurt your mobility, but it'll at least let you stretch out ranges a bit further. So the MAC-10 is going to be a decent choice, no matter which mode you're in. It'll be a lot better in 250 HP modes, but it'll still be fine in 300. Its fast fire rate is going to be making it very forgiving, and it'll be easy for most players to use. However, if you like the idea of the MAC-10 and would rather have a slightly better performing weapon with slightly less fire rate, try the Cold War PPSH out. So that was MAC-10. Have you used it recently? And if so, what do you think about it? And if there's any weapon, build, or part of the game you want me to break down, let me know. You may see it on the next Community Wednesday. Thanks for watching.